Hello and welcome to Family Science. My name is Miss Lindsay and I'm one of the youth librarians at the Winnetka Northfield Public Library District. Today we're going to be doing raised salt art as part of our Family Science program. If you haven't yet picked up your kit at the Winnetka Library, you can do so via curbside pickup. If you have, you've likely received a paintbrush or pipette, some liquid watercolors in various shades, some liquid glue, some salt, and various pieces of paper. Now, the other thing you're going to need from your home is something to catch your excess glue, salt, and paint as you are making your creation. I recommend a rimmed baking sheet or baking dish. It makes it really easy to tip up your paper, shake off any excess, and go ahead and work right in that space and then get rid of it all later when you don't need it anymore. So, the first thing you want to do is lay out your design in glue. With your paper flat in your baking sheet, go ahead and drizzle your glue over your sheet of paper. You want to create as thin of lines as possible. Make sure they're fairly even as you go. You can do intentional designs like hearts and stars. You can do your name, whatever you would like. The sky is the limit with your designs here. So you'll go ahead and drizzle the glue over the paper in whatever your chosen design is. I'm doing a fairly random design and I'm not doing so great at making sure my lines are thin and even, but we'll see later what the effect is when our lines are nice and thin and long versus kind of big clumps of glue on the page. Clumps of glue will still work, they'll just work a little bit differently, and it's really cool to see how. So, once you've done with that, the next thing you need is salt. You want to take your salt and you'll want to shake it all over the page, covering as much of the glue as you can. If you can't get all the glue with the salt that you've got, don't worry, we're going to kind of shake it up and make sure that everything is covered. If you're doing a really big design, you can also use whatever kind of table salt you have at home. I have Good and Gather iodized table salt from Target. Any ground table salt will do. I will say kosher salt and sea salt, kind of those bigger chunks of salt, absolutely will not work for this. So go ahead and take your salt and just shake it over all of your glue, making sure that you cover absolutely everything. Perfect. Okay, and with that, you'll want to use your baking sheet very carefully here. This might be a good job for a grown-up or with some supervision. You'll want to tilt, tilt, tilt. Make sure you're getting all the areas of your paper kind of covered in salt here. This can be a great time to make sure that if you haven't been able to cover every spot in your paper that is glued with salt, to kind of shake it around. You can always pick it back up and sprinkle it over if you need to with the excess, but make sure that all of your glue is covered in salt. So the next step is really important. You don't want it to dry very much, if at all, before you go ahead and start using your paint. So with your liquid watercolors, using your brush or your pipette, you'll go ahead, you don't need too much at a time, just a little drop on your brush or in your pipette. You'll drop a single drop into your salt and you'll see it create a line. You'll see, despite putting it on one tiny piece of your paper, it creates a line almost an inch long in the thinner areas. In thicker areas, it might create a very large spreaded dot. Either way, it looks really cool. You'll see it spread out instantly, and you only need a little bit of paint to do that. So you'll go ahead and paint whichever areas you like. And this is where the fun can be had with different colors. So I'm using mostly orange so far, seeing how the orange spreads around my paper. And I'm not getting any on the paper itself. It's staying all entirely within the salt and the glue mixture that I've created. I'm gonna rid my paintbrush of orange and swirl it around in some green. And I'll drip it fairly close to the orange, and you can see the orange and the green kind of meet and start to blend a little bit. They create a really cool, deep, rich brown color. Let's see if I can get a little bit more here. But no matter what colors you use, you're bound to create really cool color combinations. So while green and orange make like a colorful brown, kind of in the middle there, red and blue will make a really pretty purple. Blue and yellow will make really cool shades of green depending on how much you use of each, and red and yellow will create various hues of orange. So go ahead, mix your colors up, see what they create when they blend together, and go ahead and paint all of your salted glue. When you're done, you're going to want to make sure this dries completely. I recommend leaving it overnight. That way in the morning, all of the glue, all of the salt, all of the paint has dried, and it's safe to hang up and display your art in your house without any risk of salt falling off onto the floor. This is a really fun way to test out cool paints and absorbency and see how colors mix. I hope that you'll all create some very cool designs, and if you want to send us your finished products, we would love to see them. Send us an email at youth@winnetcalibrary.org with your finished products. We love seeing all of the cool things that you're doing at home while we are closed, and keep sending us your great ideas, and we hope to see you at our next Family Science next month. Thanks for joining us.